bracelets. This is just stretch. I'm going to pull them up. So here, and you guys, a lot of you that follow me have seen this in the background on my show and tells and stuff. So, I have stretch bracelets like, they're going out of style, which they're not. And in a beautiful amount of colors. And I stack them and mix and match and mix and match. Many of these guys I have had put together. This one, my greens, my purples, my aquas for years. 5-6 years, guys. Okay? And they're just still as good as the day that I made them. Okay? And so that is just a snippet of some of my bracelets. Now, let's go back to the basics, guys. So a couple of the most important things are making sure that you are pre-stretching. We're going to get into a minute. That is just, I can't stress enough, guys. You have to pre-stretch, okay? If you want your bracelets to last, if you don't want them turning out, let me grab some. If you don't want them turning out to when you put them on your wrist, that you have all this cord showing through, okay? You need to pre-stretch, okay? Number 2 is the diameter of your cord you're using is going to match the bead. So if you have larger hole beads, you're using larger hole beads, then you just need to use your cord accordingly. I have up in my store right now 0.5 and 0.6 millimeter. It's pretty much my go-to unless I'm using gemstones. When I'm using gemstones, although typically they have a smaller hole, I do tend to use the 1 millimeter stretch cord. And let me tell you why. Because our gemstones are heavier typically, right? If I'm doing a full gemstone bracelet that has nothing, in between it, no spacers or anything, just straight gemstones. I've got several up in my store. If you want to take a look and pop over to my store, my jade, the camellia jade, the Canadian jade, I've got several up. Take a look at those bracelets and you'll see what I mean. And those bracelets that are up in my store, those are on those gemstone bracelets. Those are on a 1 millimeter cord, okay? And you'll see how perfectly round they look. So with that said, guys, another really great thing if you're designing a full stack, right? Because to stack, as I just showed you with mine, is something that is extremely popular. It's been popular for many years. I don't think it's going out of style anytime soon. Having a board in front of you is fantastic because you can, as you can see, lay several out. You've got all your measurements on here, and you can just start banging them out. 40 going north. Okay, so there's one brand, okay, the Venus needles, okay? And they come, needles for jewelries, come in dozens and dozens and dozens of styles and types, but I love these, and I've got to get these restocked. They should be restocked in a couple of weeks, because as you can see, they bend, right? They're really flexible, and the portion where you thread your cord through, it expands and contracts as you are going through your beads. They are phenomenal, make your life so easy, and you will make stretch bracelets super fast. Now, if you don't have those in front of you or in your stash, here's a tip for you. This is a regular piece of stringing wire, okay? I don't know, it's probably a 38 or 45 millimeter, probably a 0.018, 0.019 inch, something like that. You can literally take and cut, let me measure that. This is a 4-inch piece, okay? And then literally cut it in half, or, bend it in half and go like this, pretty excessively until you can get a nice bend in your wire. And you can equally put your cord and just feed your cord through. Now, it won't stay like the beading wire, but it will serve the same purpose, guys. So you just would put it through like this, right? And then kind of just keep a hold of your tail out of the way. And then you can, of course, use this to string your beads and push them down your wire. So that's a little trick for you. So we will unwind and let's strip it down to the basic 101 stretch bracelet making. So what you're going to want to do The first thing is I kind of just grab a small amount and put it in my thumb here. And what you're going to want to do when you're using a smaller diameter, this is not going to be true when we're using a 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and a 1.0, but we're using 0.5 or 0.6, okay? You're going to want to do this. So you're going to go around once, twice, and then kind of like a half, so 2.5 times. Use your scissors or your cutters and go ahead and cut your stretch cord, okay? So what we just did was we just went around 1, 2.5, okay? And that's gonna give us plenty of room to do what we need to do. Okay, so this step 2 is we're gonna go ahead and just stretch it. So we're gonna go along and gently tug, just like I'm doing here, okay? So we're gently tugging, and we're gonna go back and forth a couple times here. And again, don't excessively pull on it, but just pull on it enough. And this is going to really expand the length of it, obviously. And you'll see what I mean in a minute, because we're gonna double it. We're gonna double it on the pearls because they do have a little bit of weight to them. Okay, they're glass pearls. And so now I've pre-stretched my cord. Okay, and now if I put it around my wrist, by the way, 1, 2, I'm almost 3 3.125 there, okay, which is just what we want. Step 3 is we're gonna put our ends together, the tails, okay, and we'll stick a bead stopper on it. Doesn't matter where, anywhere at the end is fine. And now we're gonna go up here to where our loop is, okay, and that's where we're gonna thread on our needle. So you're just gonna take that loop, slide it right through your needle, okay? When you slide it through your needle, you just need to pull it through about 1/2 inch, and then you push it down, and that snugs and holds your stretch cord. That's why I love these needles, okay? Now, if you are using our makeshift wire, you would do the same thing. Just simply, what you'll do now is that loop right there, you're simply going to take your little makeshift needle out of your beading wire, okay, and take it just like this and put it through your loop. You see that? And now you're good, okay? And you can go ahead and string. It's not gonna come off, okay? So that's a better way to do it. That's why, you know, there's a lot of videos out there about stretch bracelets, but my method is tried and true, so I hope you guys enjoy, which is why I put my tails on this side. A lot of people put their tails on the other side, but not me, okay? So now I'm literally ready to string my pattern. So the next step, guys, is you'll want to try, once you get your pattern together, try to find your largest whole bead. And if you don't have one, it's fine. But try to find your largest whole bead and start with it, okay? Which for me is going to be my focal. You can kind of see it's a rather large hole there. And the reason for that is we want our knot, once we tie our huge knot that we're going to tie, we want it to be able to disappear in our beads. And this is a filigree, so I'm going to try, there we go. There's the other side of the hole, okay? And it's just going to go ahead and slide and drop down, and I'm not worried about it because I got my bead stopper on it and I'm good, okay? So again, if you do not have a large hole bead because all your beads have the same size hole, that's fine. Use the clear cord, or like even in this case, the black. You can even see right here, you can hardly even see my knot. It'll eventually disappear within your beads. And so because I started in the center, I just need to go one way or the other. It doesn't matter. Okay? And so we just literally are going to start feeding on our pattern. And just feed them right on the needle, and you'll see how fast this goes. It's really easy, guys. Really fast. Once you lay your pattern out, these beading needles are fantastic for stretch bracelets because they just go really, really fast. Okay, and so there, you see what's going on. I've got them on my needle there. And then all you do is, because that section right there, as I mentioned to you, expands and contracts, it's just we're just pushing our beads right down and letting them fall. This is what we have, okay? And so next step, guys, is we're going to go ahead and remove our cord off of our beading wire and just pull it out. Set our beading wire right there. And now we're going to take that loop and we're going to put it in between our fingers just like this. Okay? So now I'm getting ready to show you how to tie them off like a pro. Okay? So we are going to grab the other side, grab our tails, remove the bead stopper. Okay? Now what you're going to do is take these tails and separate them. Okay? And just how I've got one here and one over here, and I have my loop in between my fingers, right? You're going to take that one loop and then just slide it through that tail through that loop and then pull your tails back together. Okay? And now do you see what we have? My loop is right here around one tail. Okay? Now what we need to do is, keeping it in that same direction, is we just need to feed we're holding our tail here. We need to feed all of our beads up to where the loop portion is, and our beads meet. There we go. Okay, so you see right there where my loop, there's my loop, and it's meeting the top of the other bead. Okay, now this is where this is very important. Now that looks a little small to me. So holding our tails, what we're gonna do is hold them about, as close as you can to your bracelet, and this is where we try it on to see, is it too small? And it is. So I need a few more beads, which is fine, okay, because I've got a gap there and I have a little bit of a gap here. And we know we're finished, by the way, guys, when our beads touch or slightly overlap. So that's an easy fix. So how I make sure without losing my wire, my cord, is I'm just going to grab that loop again, right? So that loop is right there, and I'm going to just get it between my finger so that I can pull it off that tail while holding my tails here. Okay? And so I've got my loop here. I'm going to stick my bead stopper right back on there, and I just need, I think, a couple of more beads. So let's just grab our needle, put that back through, push it down, let it catch it, and let me see my pattern. So we have a black and a black. So what I'll do is I'll remove this black, since I want that to be right next to that bead, and I'll just add, that's why I have some over here, I'll just add, I think, a couple more gray. Doesn't matter if it's not totally symmetrical, it's totally fine. And I think I'll feed on, maybe we'll do a small black, and then we'll add a gray, and then a second gray. So then that looks perfect right there, and then I'll put my black bead on that needs to match on that other side, okay? So now once again, I'm gonna remove my needle. I'm gonna put my loop in between my fingers, remove my bead stopper, separate my tails, grab one, let it drop through, put my tails back together, drop through that loop. There we go. And now I'm gonna pull my beads up towards that loop until my beads meet, just like that. Okay, and you can see my loop there. Okay, so my beads meet. And now same thing, I'm going to put my fingers pretty close here, and now I'm gonna try it on again, and now it's perfect. Okay, just perfect. The beads are meeting pretty well there. Okay, so now here's where you make your surgeon's knot. So we do our surgeon's knot and we do our 5-knot roll. So what we're gonna do is, the first thing is, guys, just make a regular knot on the top, and then we're just gonna pull it slightly, don't excessively, you'll break it, okay? At this point, you'll break up. We'll get more excessive on our pulling as we knot, okay? So there's the first knot. just a regular overhand knot. Now you're going to take and grab your bracelet and crisscross underneath your tails and pull them back up to the top, and make sure you're staying in the area of the knot, okay? Make sure that your cord doesn't fall over to another area, okay? And now we're gonna start our triple knots, or in other words, our surgeon knots. So we will just go around once and then twice, pull that tail through, okay? And then we're gonna pull it a little bit, and then I'm gonna pull it up and show you what we have. And you see that? We have a triple knot. Beautiful. And now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and again, kind of pull it up and let it freely go the way it wants to go. And then we'll go ahead and snug it up a little bit more. And then once again, we're just going to pick up our bracelet and we're going to take our tails and we're just going to crisscross them. So this one goes to this side and this one goes to this side. That's all. And then we'll pull them back to the top and we'll do another triple knot. So we just pull the tail through once and then twice. There's your triple knot, and we'll go ahead and pull it. And now every time we pull the knot, make a knot, we're gonna pull it a little bit tighter. And now one more time, or two more times really, we're going to crisscross underneath our tails, pull them back to the top. We'll make another surgeon's knot. So 1, 2. And pull, snug that up, and then we will do our last knot. So we'll just crisscross applesauce, pull it to the top, and then we've got 1, 2. We'll pull that. You can see there's that triple knot, and there we go. There's our 5 triple knots. That is tried and true, guys. It's not going anywhere. We pull it nice and snug. Now we take our tails and we kind of pull them a little bit so you can see where my knot is, and we want to go about 1 centimeter away. Don't cut too close to your knot. You can use a regular pair of scissors too. So I'm going to cut it about that far away, about 1 centimeter. Okay, and we just clip off the excess and we're good to go. And then we can either intentionally pull that knot through. Now my knot is inside here, so it's gone away. We try it on and it's perfect. You see that? We don't have any wires showing through. That's exactly what we want. Okay, so there is bracelet number 3. And so now we will get into bracelet number 4, and we can, I think, move this along a little quicker. And then you'll see the full stack. So I've got 1 and then 2.5. And then I'm gonna clip that right there. And now I'm gonna go ahead and pre-stretch. So I'm just gonna gently tug it along the full length of the stretch cord. And then I'm gonna go back along the other way. Just pulling it gently, guys. That's all I'm doing. Not excessively. If you do it excessively, you'll see what I mean. You'll break it. And now we're good. And so now we will double it by folding it in half. We will find our tails. There they are. And we'll go ahead and put a bead stopper on there. Okay, and now we'll grab our loop here. We'll feed it through our beading needle. In fact, let me do this one, guys, even with my makeshift, so you can see it works just as fine. And there you go. See, I just put the loop right there through, and now we can go ahead and string. And so now on this one, the only large hole beads I have are my spacers. So I'm gonna have to start right there at my spacer, my little rhinestone spacers. Okay, so I'll feed that down, and then I'll just make sure that I'm picking these up in the correct order, going the correct direction. Needle on it, and then just kind of grab it and put it around your wrist and bring it around. okay? And kind of try to get over your bead stopper without it bulking in your way. And take a look without pulling that do your beads meet? Okay, can you see that? Can you see how my beads meet? They are not hardly even overlapping. I hope you can see that, right? They are literally touching each other, right? And I'm not pulling at all. I'm just laying it around my wrist without pulling, okay? And, oops, I've got a gap right there, and that's what you want to be mindful of. So let's make sure that we don't have any gaps. And let me pull it up to the front. And yeah, we're good. I don't have any gaps going on. Okay, so that's perfection. And so now we can remove our needle. And again, before we remove the bead stopper, we'll want to go ahead and take our loop, put it between our fingers, take off our bead stopper. And now you'll want to go ahead and split your tails. Let one tail drop right in that loop, but keep it on the right side of the bead. Put our tails back together just like that. So your tail is on the left side and your loop is on the right. And our goal is to pull the beads towards the loop. So we want to pull them down towards the loop. And then as that's happening, the loop, we pull it down. The more that we pull these down on the tail part, the more we push them up towards the loop. You can see my loop right there? Okay. And then you want to do that to make sure that you're just like that. Okay. And so now we have our tails here, and we have our loop right here. Okay. And our beads are meeting. Okay, and I can even go over to any of my finished ones, kind of line them up, make sure that they look pretty similar. Looks like they do. And now, again, I've got that nice, decent loop there on my spacer. So hopefully this knot will go ahead and tuck right through there. Obviously, it's not gonna tuck through the pearls. They're too small of a hole. And so we just do our first regular top knot, guys, and then go ahead and just pull it gently. Now this is where you just want to start to pull gently. And you see how I'm taking my bracelet and letting it just lay down on my mat in its natural curvature way. Okay, that's what you want to do. That's how your beads will come together. Okay, and now we are going to take and do our crisscross. So this tail goes that way. And this tail goes this way. It's very simple. And now I'm going to make sure I'm pulling them back up in that same section next to my spacer. And make sure that they'll go right there. Because see, they're wanting to go over here. So I'm going to put it there. And now we're going to start with our surgeon 5-knot rule. So there's a tail through once and then twice. And again, we have our surgeon's knot right there. And then we will pick it up and let it rest where its natural way wants to rest. And then snug it a little bit more. And then we'll pick it up. You don't see any wires showing through. And now we have a full set of 5. And let's try them all on and see how gorgeous. Okay, so there's 1, 2, and then there's a 3rd one, and then our 4th one with that gorgeous star on it there. And there is a gorgeous stackable set of 4. You can mix and match and stack them. You can just wear 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. And they're just beautiful in those gorgeous neutral colors. And I hope you guys enjoyed Back to the Basics 101 Pro Finish making stretch bracelets, my tried and true way with our triple surgeon's knots. So don't forget to give me a like, thumbs up, and comments, guys. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, friends, be blessed.